What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. You have your normal Monday crew here. Myself, Alpha Dog Bets, here with JD from Line Movers and Ben from We Beat the Spread. Fellas, it was a great weekend. I'm excited to be back on the show with you. JD, how are you today?
And I'm doing great. The weather here is kind of not so great, man. We have a bunch of rain. But yeah, man, other than that, we have a great day. So
Absolutely excited to dive into it. Ben, how are you today, my friend?
Doing great. It's a good Monday. I know I didn't win the cluck bet on the Chiefs, but they did cash a big parlay for me last night, and we hit our max on the Rams, which I know was controversial on the show as well. So actually, doing pretty good on this Monday.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. You went a little early on the weekend recap, so we're still going to go over how you did this weekend. You're still going to cluck again, which the world is very excited about. Shout out to the comments.
No. That's Friday. That's Friday.
That is Friday. You're not doing it yet, but shout out to the comments. Bill Norman is here as usual. Good morning. Happy Monday, Bill. And Doc is here. What is up, Doc? We appreciate you tuning in. Guys, let's go into that weekend recap. JD, how'd you do this weekend?
it was overall pretty good. Let's see, college football. We talked about that Georgia and Texas game. I believe I was on the Georgia side, and I believe everybody else was on the other one there. That one actually worked out. Like I said, for some reason, Georgia, they actually are a good team. And actually for these games, they just get up for them. Texas is not a bad team, but I don't think that they're quite as good as people think they are. Then we said, that actually Penn State game. We said over there, and boy, did that fly over.
Yep.
That actually over, I believe, actually hit in the first half for us there. Then that SMU Clemson game, guys. SMU, they start that game. I mean, it like just could not have gone worse.
Yeah, it couldn't have.
It literally could not have gone worse. And actually they like fought their way back. But yeah, just couldn't quite do it there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a tough game. But then as far as the NFL, that actually Rams game, the Rams, they seemed like the numbers scared me. I was afraid to play them. But as far as the Bills to score points, there's what we did, and they easily went over that one. The Browns and Steelers, though, that game, I feel like I got cheated there. That actually over, actually just going back today and just actually looking over the game, that over should have hit. It really should have.
Absolutely.
But hey, happens though. Then the cluck bet, that was actually last night. That was the Chiefs and Chargers, and somehow the Chiefs did what they always do.
Yeah,
somehow pull out a 1 or 2 point win.
Yeah.
Is it sustainable? That's what I want to talk to you guys. Obviously, I was on the other side of the cluck bet, so we're not going to talk much about that. We all know 6 in a row for me, 6 in a row for Ben on different ends of the winning or losing spectrum. However, the Chiefs can't keep doing this, can they? This is not sustainable. My father is in his mid-70s. He calls me about midnight last night and goes, I can't believe what I'm watching. How do they do this every single week? Do you think it's sustainable? And I just can't fathom how they keep doing it. Usually teams have a bad break. They'll have a turnover. Something's going to happen where they lose a close game late. It's the opposite for this Chiefs team. They create turnovers. They force turnovers, and they beat you in the last couple seconds of the game consistently. Ben, what do you think about that? Do you think it's sustainable? Do you think they're going to start to maybe drop a couple games?
In a weird way, I was actually talking about it with some of my Vikings friends last night, and it feels almost eerily similar to the 2022 Vikings that finished 13-4. And it was all these one-score games. They were 7-0, I think, in one-score games. Now the Chiefs are undefeated in one-score games this year. And you just look at it, and it's what happened in the first round of the playoffs to that team. You get to the playoffs, and all of a sudden, those one-score games get a lot tighter. Yeah, whatever. They lost.
Woo! New York Giants, baby!
Games get even tighter in the playoffs. Regular season is regular season. They're playing in a so-so division, that kind of thing. They just won the division. But their biggest game of the season so far which was against the Bills, they lost. It was their biggest game against the year. There was the most hype coming into it, and they didn't look good. And I think that's the most telling because we're not going to sit here and act like their strength of schedule is crazy either. So I just think it's something where it could be that they're just cruising in through the playoffs because now they've won back-to-back Super Bowls. Like it could be that kind of thing where all of a sudden once the playoffs start, it's going to turn up. I could see that from the Chiefs, but at the same time, it's like Mahomes does not look like himself. Before yesterday, coming into yesterday, I should say, he was tied for the most interceptions in the league. And Kelsey's finally heating up, but we didn't see that connection to start the year so much. Pacheco is back, which is something that is a big thing because he was out for most of the year, so I get that. But yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. I really don't. Once you get to the playoffs, those games get even more tight, and you just see teams. Those mistakes will be amplified in the playoffs.
Absolutely agree with you here. And the odds have flipped a little bit. The Detroit Lions are now the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl at a plus 270. The Chiefs are all the way up to a plus 500. So they have gained a little bit or they've kind of got lower on the odds boards, but this is a team that continuously does it. Until we could see them do something else. I mean, their money line's a great play. I know Joe put here, you ride the money line until it falls off. It's working. They're winning a lot, but I mean, fading them right now is working perfectly too. The Chargers 3.5 was a great play. JD, I'm going to ask you, do you think going forward, it might be time to start fading the Chiefs a little bit until they could start covering some football games? Or are you more along the lines, maybe they're a money line team. They're going to keep winning, so maybe they're a parlay piece each week. What do you think?
I'm on the side of where I think value is going to keep starting to show themselves on the Chiefs.
I agree.
Because like I said, as far as actually like ATS, they've actually lost the past 7 now.
Yep.
Normally when a team hits that around like 4-game mark, whenever they've either have like lost that many straight or either won actually that many straight, you want to normally flip and go the other way. This team, now that they're 0-7, and actually normally now is where you would not want to do that. You would want to just keep riding that. Fade them. Mm-hmm. But the Chiefs are too good to just completely just keep fading them. As far as the matchup, I mean, actually, like it always comes down actually to that, like actually like for me. But no, right now with how the market is on the Chiefs, I'm going to try to find ways to actually back them.
I understand that completely. Ben, what do you think? Do you think they're more of a fade team right now where you can take the spread against them and get some nice covers, like 7 in a row by taking it? Or do you think betting the money line is the best play on them? And for some perspective, this upcoming week, they're playing at 1 o'clock on Sunday against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, and it's only a 5.5-point line.
Well, who just put it in a Diamond Dog? Diamond Dog said regression due 0-7 last 7 against the spread also, which kind of explains it perfectly. Winning these one-score games. Before yesterday, yesterday they were 3.5 or 4, depending on where you got it. But, we saw them as like touchdown favorites multiple times early in the season, and they were winning by, barely a field goal, sometimes even 1 or 2 points. So, yeah, I think they're a decent parlay piece. That's what I did with them yesterday. I took them on a parlay, closed it out, which was nice. I know we had our cluck bet, which sucked. But at the end of the day, they're just not covering. They just aren't. They're getting love from the books, which we've seen sort of go down, like yesterday, where earlier on in the season, they were more favored on the road than they were at home yesterday against the same team. So finally, I think the market's coming down on them a little bit, to JD's point. Like, maybe this is the time you can start backing them now that the market is finally adjusting to the fact that they just aren't covering. 7 straight missed covers in a row, but yet they continue to win. So, yeah, I would say, it might be almost time to back them against the spread. I know it didn't work out this week, but you're going to see these spreads fall more and more until they start to actually cover again. Yeah,
they should, right? They can't keep not covering games and winning. They can't keep getting spreads big enough where they can win the game, and it's not going to be a cover. It just can't keep happening. It's not feasible that's sustainable, but it's where we are. Ben, I'm going to ask you, any other NFL stories before we get a little bit more in-depth into the college football playoff? I know that's the big talking point right now. That's what's on top of everybody's mind, so we are going to talk about that. But anything else in the NFL you want to touch on?
I would say the playoff race, because, we're finally getting down to, we have a few games left, and we're finally getting some close divisional, even because the Ravens and the Steelers, I know the Steelers are up 2 games, but that's going to be close, and it might end up decide who actually even goes to the playoffs, because now you have the Chargers at 8-5. They had a close game last night. If they would have won, that would have gotten a lot more interesting. The Broncos are tied 8-5 in that division. It looks like the winner of that, last wild card spot is going to be in that same boat, because you have the Dolphins all of a sudden who won yesterday. Now they're getting up to potentially being in that race. The AFC wildcard race is heating up. I know the NFC looks a little more, maybe in tune with the Commanders and Vikings and Packers. There's a few other teams maybe in contention, but it kind of looks like that's a little more stuck. But that AFC wildcard race is going to be really interesting coming down the stretch here. What do you think?
I kind of think the opposite. I mean, the Rams are currently sitting in 8th in the NFC. They're one game back of the Commanders for that final 7th wildcard spot. As we know, 14 teams make it now. So it's 7-7 on each side. For the AFC, the 8-5 teams all have a full 2-game lead. So the Colts and the Dolphins are behind them, but they have a full 2-game lead on them. So it's pretty interesting to me that this year that the playoff race is kind of not that entertaining, because I kind of feel like we know the majority of the teams that are already going to make it. I think the only spot that's up for grabs is that final NFC spot that could go, in my opinion, to either the Commanders or the Rams. I don't think the Falcons are going to get back in that race, and I don't think the Packers are going to lose enough to go back down in that race. But on the other side, does anyone really think the Colts or the Dolphins are going to make this big run and make the playoffs here? Both under 500. We all saw what the Dolphins looked like against the Jets. I mean, they pulled it out, but did that give anyone any trust in that game? I mean, the Jets really weren't playing anyone. I also think they're kind of on the tank train right now, because they're closer to a first-round pick than anything, and they're out of the playoffs here. But one comment here I do want to talk to, and JD, is there anything you want to add on this topic before we go to one more comment?
Nah.
49ers. From Hottie Toddy. They had an impressive win yesterday. Does anybody give them any chance? I mean, I know they're another team that's pretty far back as well. The 49ers are 6-7, so they're 2 games back, but they look good yesterday. I know that was against Caleb Williams. You guys know how I feel about Caleb Williams. If you watch the show, you know how I feel about the Bears normally. But what do we think? Ben, I'll ask you.
Well, yeah, that division is looking like the best race right now for sure in the NFL, because you have literally all 4 teams that could mathematically do it. The 49ers, do they have the tiebreaker with the Seahawks? I can't remember, because they haven't played the second time, right?
They haven't exactly, so it's still not decided.
Yeah, so it's still not decided for the tiebreaker, because, I mean, if they win 2 games and they win the tiebreaker, you have the 49ers, so you'd think the season's over, but all of a sudden they're only 2 games behind, and they could win the tiebreaker if they beat the Seahawks the next time. So,
Seahawks have a tough schedule, too. They play the Packers next week. They play the Vikings the week after. And last week of the year, they play the Rams, who, as we just went over, are fighting for that last wild card spot.
Yeah, and the Rams with Puka Nacua. I mean, I said it when we were breaking down this game on Friday. I said this team, when healthy, Stafford has literally won a Super Bowl with Cooper Kupp. I know they don't have Aaron Donald anymore, but that defense, it didn't play great yesterday, but they were, I should say, opportunistic. Like, they made some key stops, even though it was the highest scoring game in the NFL season last night, by the way, or yesterday, I should say, not last night. But, I mean, the defense didn't play great, but they had some opportunistic drives. And when you have Stafford, who we've seen win a Super Bowl with the same team, the O-line was blocking well for him, and then you have a healthy Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. We saw what they could do. They could score points at will. So with them coming down the end of the season with 2 healthy receivers like that, arguably one of the best receiving corps in the NFL, the sky's the limit for them. The Seahawks, they won 4 games in a row, but like you said, tough schedule to end the year, and they might be due for a loss here. So that division is going to be wild.
Absolutely. JD, what do you think about the 49ers season-long outlook? I know we've been kind of killing them on this show all year long, but they're only 2 games back. They definitely have a chance. I don't know if it's a great chance, but they have a chance. What do you think?
I was about to say, I'm going to have to stick with it, man. I'm going to say no. Actually, like you said, they have a chance, but no. But actually, no, I don't think they really have a chance. No.
They're too banged up. They just don't really have the core of their team. You know what I mean? There's just too many key members that are not there for this team to be hitting on all cylinders. I know, like I said, I know they had a big performance, but it was against the Bears. I thought the Bears would play better. You guys all know the vibes when you have a new coach. Sometimes you come out and you play hard for that new coach and you have a big performance. I drank the juice on that one yesterday. I thought that was going to happen. Boy, did I eat my words, because the Bears got absolutely dismantled. I don't know who else saw that game, but the Bears offense had a total offensive yardage of 4 at halftime. Yet again, 4. They could have ran the ball to Ben every play and had more than 4 yards in the first half of that game. So I don't know if I took too much out of that one. But, fellas, let's kind of go back over to college football. Let's get into the college football landscape of what happened over the weekend. What stuck out to you guys the most? JD put it perfectly with that SMU game. That one, if they maybe had anywhat of a decent first half, they would have probably won that game outright pretty easily, but they played so horribly in the first quarter. They just dug themselves too big of a hole. Arizona State, to me, was very impressive with that 45-19 win over Iowa State. I don't have too much faith in them in the college football playoff, Boise looked good as well. They won 21-7. We had the under in that game, so I was very happy with how that played out. But what do we think about this college football playoff? I think Penn State kind of got a free path, in my opinion. I think they might have an easy path to get there, which I don't think they really deserved, because under James Franklin, they've blown so many games, especially this year. They didn't prove anything to me. So what do you guys think about Penn State? Let's talk about that. They seem to have a pretty easy path. They competed in the championship of the Big Ten. They scored 37 points, but they did lose 45-37. Granted, it was against Oregon, who is the best team in the nation currently, as the rankings say. But Drew Aller was impressive. I mean, there's no way to say Drew Aller isn't impressing people. He's getting better as the season's gone on, and he's definitely surpassed my expectations of him. Ben, we'll start with you. What do you think of this Penn State team?
Yeah, I mean, you just brought up the Drew Aller. Like, he's rising in quarterback draft stock. Carson Beck's falling. Who knows where Shedeur standing? Like,
Carson Beck is going to see
situation where, there's a serious situation where Drew Aller is like one of the top quarterbacks taken in the upcoming draft. So, I mean, when you have that type of talent on your team, of course you have a chance. It's just like, I'm not super high on this Penn State team, but they definitely drew a very good straw in this bracket because you play SMU, who snuck in. Of course, everyone's talking about the Alabama snub and stuff, but SMU does sneak in after losing to Clemson. And then, of course, after that, they're going to play Boise State, who is a great team attached, which I'll cover that in a second. But definitely out of the other three teams they could have been matched up, Boise State feels like one of the better draws there for how scary, because you could say Arizona State lower seeded, but they looked really, really scary in that conference championship against Iowa State. So I honestly think their path does look the easiest right now. The only other argument could be Georgia, because we still don't know about Carson Beck. But arguably, he's looked horrible over the last,
all year.
Pretty much all year he's looked horrible. And the backup actually played better than him in that game. So who knows if that's even that big of an injury for Georgia. So Penn State definitely drew, I think, the easiest first round path to get into at least the semifinals.
Yeah, I agree with that. JD, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, actually, what I show both said, I actually agree with here. I got a lot of shit to actually talk about all these things, but this is not really the section that I have anything to really actually talk about. So
definitely understand it. We're going to be doing a full college football playoff breakdown where we're going to be going over every single thing that we think about the college football playoffs. Were there any other stories in the college football playoff? What do we think about SMU getting in over Bama? We do have to talk about that. That is kind of the hot topic of the college football playoff. I'm going to be short and sweet. I'm going to go first. The committee made the right decision. Yeah. Alabama did not deserve to be in the college football playoff. They had 3 losses. They did not lose as 3 touchdown favorites to Oklahoma. They would have gotten in. But that was a very bad loss towards the end of the year. And that's coupled with also losing to Vanderbilt. Those are 2 games they needed to win. You can't lose those 2 games. I don't care about the Tennessee loss. That's fine. On the road at Tennessee, that's okay. That's not a loss that should keep you out of the playoffs. But a 21-point favorite to lose to Oklahoma, to me, you couldn't get in after that point. And SMU did deserve to be there, especially with how well they played to come back in their conference championship. Ben, what do you think?
I think my favorite thing I always and you don't see really anyone actually defending it that heavily except for Alabama fans, which is pretty much all you need to really have an opinion on this. But my favorite part is all the Alabama writers and all this kind of stuff and the AD and everyone saying, I guess we'll just start scheduling easier non-conference schedules. What do you mean? You played Mercer, Western Kentucky, South Florida, and one of the worst Big Ten teams in the conference this year. What do you mean start scheduling easier non-conference games? And you blew all them out. That wasn't the topic of discussion. Your only losses came in conference play. Like what do you mean? Like, oh, this is horrible for college football. We're gonna have to start scheduling easier non-conference schedules.
They had a losing record in the SEC
schedule. Yeah, like that's not where any part of you getting left out. That was not part of the argument at all. So that's been my favorite part. And the fact that you see mostly just Alabama fans defending Alabama tells you all you need to know. The committee absolutely made the right decision. You can't lose 3 games and be in the playoff over a 2-loss team. Even if they're in a worse conference, like you can't let the SEC bias reign that supreme. I understand it's the best conference in football by far, but you can't let it reign so supreme that you start just letting in these teams because of hypothetical matchups and, oh, well, they would absolutely beat this team. No, you can't use hypotheticals. You go based off what the season showed you. And Alabama wasn't one of the 12 best teams in the nation. That's at the end of the day. That's what it is.
Could not agree more. JD, the man with the Alabama hat behind him. What do you think?
First off, I don't think this is a Bama thing. I think there are a lot of other teams that should have got in over fucking SMU. So let's just start
I
off
could
with
take
that.
that.
This is
I would
actually
take
not
that.
a Bama. This is not a Bama thing.
So I'm guessing South Carolina is on that list for
Yes.
you as well. Okay.
Hell
Understood.
yes.
Understood.
Definitely should be. Anyway, let's go back here though. If actually as far as in the SMU Clemson game, if they do not come back and make that a close game, because Clemson was just playing just to not lose.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so if they don't come back and actually tie that game up, are actually they in?
It depends. Do you guys believe that the committee takes into account punishing teams for going to the conference championship? I don't think you can.
Yeah, no, you can't.
I don't think you can.
Teams are going to purposely not go to their conference championship.
The issue is if you do that next year, every player who is going to play, and let's say you're like the type of SMU team that's in there, they're going to say they came down with the flu. Our quarterback's sick. Our running back's sick. My linebacker's sick. So we had an extra game. You can't really count it towards the thing. And all of our guys didn't play. So if they do it that way, it's going to completely ruin all the championship games.
Well, that's the thing that I think is messed up now. The way that they seeded everybody here, strength of schedule, they proved by what they put on here. It does not – the strength of schedule is just not a thing. It just doesn't matter. And then getting to your conference championship also doesn't matter. Like, how does Arizona State and Boise have freaking buys?
I agree.
And then you have Oregon and then Georgia are going to have to play the hardest. Like, they're going to have the toughest way through. Mm-hmm. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. I am 100% in agreement with you. The way that they go about it doesn't make sense. I do believe they got the right teams in there. I'm going to be honest. I believe the teams are right, but I believe the seeding is atrocious. There's no way in hell that Boise State and Arizona State should get a bye in the college football playoff. I agree. Winners of their conference should automatically get a bid to the college football playoff, but I don't think it should be one of the automatic buys. They should have to play in the first round. I mean, take a look at college basketball. You win your conference tournament and you're a smaller school team, you're in the 16-16 game. You're playing before you even get into the tournament. So I do think they should have to play, and they should make these schedules a little bit different because, I mean, when you take a look at the games in the schedule here, I mean, 8 versus 9, Ohio State, Tennessee, that's a banger. The winner gets the privilege of playing Oregon. That's brutal. And then you take a look at the Penn State SMU game, 6 versus 11.
And the winner plays Boise.
And the winner plays Boise. Like, it just, that to me should not be how it is. So great,
the bracket's
JD.
horrible.
What else do you think about these college football playoffs? You made some good points.
What else here? You know what? It's weird to say, but I think the AP poll is actually better than what the college football,
That's a big debate as well. That's a big debate as well.
And for me to say that is weird. Like, that's just wild that I'm actually saying that. But yeah, for me, it's like, where the seating is, that was my biggest thing that I didn't like. I mean, like I've already gone over what actually my biggest thing was there, but
all right.
I have another takeaway from this weekend.
One more takeaway before we get into the everyone waiting for Knicks Raptors banger. One more takeaway. What do you got, Ben?
Yeah. Well, rightfully so. Just a little bit over the weekend, we saw the Heisman odds shorten a little bit.
Oh, yes, we did.
A little bit.
They went
It's
ham.
still Travis Hunter minus 4,000 and Jensen.
It went up again?
What?
It went up again. I had it at minus 2,000 yesterday. Let me pull it back up.
Yeah, well, it's back to minus 4,000.
Yeah, you're right, it is.
I'm so tired because we just saw it. Ashton Genty, everyone was saying, oh, they didn't play any good teams all year. He wouldn't have these stats if he played in a better conference. In the conference championship against one of the best statistical rushing defenses in college football, the whole reason they were ranked, because their defense all year, they were ranked for their defense. It's not like they had some crazy offense. Yep. They go out and they score 21 points behind 209 rushing yards in the conference championship behind Ashton Genty, who rushed for a touchdown, had 6.5 yards per carry against one of the best rushing defenses in college football, and ran for over 200 yards. Like, how do we not put weight into that? A ranked team who is there because of their defense, and I just don't understand. He's not going to win it, and he should. I
saw a great post about this weekend. If the Division I college football coaches all had a vote for the Heisman, Ashton Genty would be the runaway winner. It's only for the people who are voting, who are not really involved in college football. They're just the individuals selected to pick awards. they're going to pick Travis Hunter. But all the inside knowledge working college football head coaches would easily go with Ashton Jeanty. So that's a topic I'm sure we're going to continue to debate. Considering
and we're also, by the way, we're also setting a precedent for all Heisman winners in the future that you can't go to the school of your choice because you have to go to one of the top conferences, or else you can't win a Heisman. You can't go anywhere except the SEC if you want to win a Heisman, or the Big Ten, because you can't pick where you want to go because you can only win one if you play in a good conference. I guess. Well, even Colorado isn't playing one of those, but yeah. Running backs have no respect anymore. They're knocking him for going to the school he wanted to go to. Like, sorry, he's not playing at Alabama or Georgia, Clemson. Like, we're knocking the guy for going where he wanted to go. It's just.
And shouldn't you reward guys like that are taking on the bigger challenge?
You're going to ruin college football so quick. Yeah.
100% agree. 100% agree, boys. We could do this all day, but we do have a couple games we are going to break down today. That's what this show is built on. So let's do what we do, shall we, gentlemen? Let's quickly, give me 1 second here. Let us quickly go into the NBA. There's only one game on the slate tonight, but it is the game everybody wants to talk about. Everyone's favorite New York Knickerbockers are taking on the Raptors here. Let me pull up the injury list. Give me 1 second. Here we go. For the Knicks, Cam Payne, game time decision. Karl Anthony Towns, game time decision. Mitch Robinson still out. Kevin McCullough Jr. is out. On the other side, a couple names for the Raptors that will be out, but the only one that really matters is going to be Emmanuel Quickly. He's going to be out for another couple weeks, they're saying. His estimated return is December 19th, so about 10 days away. But Bruce Brown is also out for the Raptors, but IQ is a very big player for this team. Ben, let's start with you. What do you like about the Knicks Raptors tonight?
Yeah, so I'm actually going with a prop in this game. We see that cat injury, and he missed the last game. He's questionable for tonight, true questionable. I really think this comes down to other players stepping up, and that guy for me is one of my favorite prop bets from last year, Josh Hart. We've seen him go under 40 minutes now in 4 straight games. I feel like tonight, with they've only played 4 games in December, or he's only played 4 games in December so far. He's gotten some rest, hasn't had to play back to back in a while. I think he's going to see over 40 minutes tonight, and he's going to be one of the main rebounders. We've seen him get a triple-double just a few games ago. All we're asking for is 14.5 rebounds and assists tonight. He's already got multiple triple-doubles this year without Cat. If he's not playing, he's going to absolutely grab 10 or more rebounds, so then all we need from there is 5 assists, which he does pretty much. He's averaging 5.5 this year, so I feel like this isn't a crazy line for him, and a guy who can easily play in the mid-40s in minutes. So I'm going to take Hart here. The Raptors give up the 4th most defensive rebounds to opposing teams this year. So I absolutely love this play. I think he gets into close to 20.
Chat question here. What do we think about Grady Dick over 15 points?
Ooh. Yeah, it's a tough one because they're playing a good defense. Like, yeah, I mean, with the Raptors injuries, I don't hate that play. Yeah, I don't know. 15 points.
I'm going to avoid it.
I'm 50-50.
I'm going to avoid it. I'll quickly go on this game. I'm not comfortable taking the Knicks in this spot. There are going to be a lot of emotions in this game. RJ Barrett, former Knick, one of the best, highest drafted players the Knicks have had over the last 25 years. He will be in this game, as well as OG Anunoby, who's a former Raptor. So those games are always a little interesting. And guys, I always like to talk about ESPN BPI. I tell you what they're predicting in this game. Right now, they're giving the Raptors a 51% chance to win this game outright. So the spread is a little interesting to me, but I do think that the Raptors will cover here. It pains me as a Knicks fan. You guys know that, but I don't play the Knicks too often. I do like the Raptors plus the 6.5 at home. I think the Knicks win the game, but this one will be a very close back and forth game. The Raptors have had some very good games this year as well. They've played some good team basketball. They've had some stinkers too. They're a team that could either do really well or really not show up, but they've been a great cover team all year long. Don't let their record of 7 and 17 fool you. They've been a pretty decent team. And when you take a look how they've done against the spread, the Raptors are the 3rd best team in the NBA ATS. They are 16-8. So like I said, they've been losing a lot of games. Their record does not show you that, but they are covering a ton. Give me the Raptors at home plus 6.5. JD, what do you got for the people?
For this game, guys, I really don't have a whole lot. With it actually just being one game here, I really don't like these slates when everybody is focused on the exact same game.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to find an actual real edge there. I will say, as far as Knicks games, whenever I look at them, I try to look at over first. They are an over team. I will say the Raptors love to give up points. So for me, really, it would actually be a team total over here uh, on the Knicks. Looks like it's at 118.5. Yeah, UNC sucks.
I mean, where did you come from, Tar Heel? We're talking about the Knicks tonight. Sorry, that was fun.
Oh gosh, but yeah, it would actually be a team total over for me here, but I don't see any actually real.
I respect it. I do think the public's going to end up being heavy on the Knicks. The Knicks are a team everyone talks about. They're very good this year. They're one of the teams competing to win the Eastern Conference. But people don't really notice that the Raptors are one of the best cover teams in the league. These are the type of games that Vegas usually makes a killing on. When there's one game, as JD put it, when they can only focus on one game, they usually get the public to take the bait on one side, and that's absolutely not what I'm doing. So yet again, I am going to be on the Raptors. All right, fellas, we still have one more game we're going to get into, and it's definitely the best game that we have on the slate today. So let's get right into it, gentlemen. The game we're going to be breaking down is going to be the Monday Night Football game between the Bengals and the Cowboys. We all kind of know the storylines going into this one. Two teams that have been very disappointing all year long. Bengals are coming in 4-8 on the season. They're 3-3 on the road. Going into Dallas, who are 5-7 on the year, but they're only 1-5 at home. Let's take a look at the injury report. A lot of injuries for the Bengals. Sheldon Rankins, one of their better defensive tackles, is going to be out tonight, as well as outside tackle Orlando Brown, another big loss for that offensive line. On the other side, basically everybody is on the Cowboys on the injury report. From the offensive line side, Zach Martin is out for the year. Josh Butler, cornerback, is out. Trayvon Diggs is questionable. Thomas, the safety, is out as well. And Tyler Guyton, offensive lineman, is a true game-time decision. Ben, we're going to go over to you. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, so for this game, I'm not even going to worry about the side. I think a lot of people are expecting the Bengals to kind of cruise, but, the Cowboys are getting slightly healthier. With Brandon Cooks coming back, you have Jake Ferguson healthy. This offense actually might not be too bad. Dak Prescott wasn't playing that well at the beginning of the year anyway. Cooper Rush is obviously a bit of a downgrade, but with the receivers that he has, I think the Cowboys are actually going to score in this game. And then you look at the Bengals, who have had 4 straight games with 60 or more points. I think you can see where I'm going here. Going with the over. I wouldn't hate teasing the Bengals down to, I think it'd be +1. I don't like teasing through 0, but if you tease them, you're going to get a point and you're going to get over 42, which actually wouldn't be a bad teaser in my opinion. When I don't usually play teasers, but I do think we see a lot of points in this game with the Cowboys getting healthier and Joe Burrow playing one of the best quarterbacks in football. What else does this guy have to do for the team to win a damn game? He's literally thrown for over 300 yards in 3 straight games, and they've all been losses. 3 or more touchdowns in all 3 of those, all 3 losses, and he's only thrown 1 pick in the last 3 games, and it was against one of the best defenses in football, which, by the way, he scored 38 points against last week. So it's just they can score points, and their defense just will not back them up at all. So I have to go with the over here. It's the play, in my opinion.
Well, if you like the over, I'm sure there's a couple touchdown props you're looking into. Casper, one of our viewers, is asking if there's any props to hammer for anytime touchdown. Do you have any for him? And actually, will you go look for that? I'll dive in here next so you can kind of see what props you want to dive into. I'm all over the Bengals in this spot, guys. I think the Bengals are going to have an absolutely massive performance here. I don't trust anything the Cowboys have been doing. Their wins have been over pretty terrible teams that don't want to win any football games. They beat the Giants. Congratulations. The Giants are actively trying to lose football games. They beat the Commanders. That was a good win for them. They look decent there. I just don't think that's going to carry over with the amount of guys that they have injured. They're just too banged up. They just have too many backups in there. And this Bengals offense is able to put up a ton of points. If you watch this show, you guys do know that I'm not a big guy that likes the Bengals this year. I have not backed them very often. I've been fading them quite frequently. However, in this spot, I do think they will have at least a 10-point win here. They should have no problem getting it done. JD, what do you like? And then we'll go over a couple props before we get out of here.
All right. Yeah, to me, this is a very actually interesting game here. From actually watching the Bengals play, as far as some of their guys, I wonder how much they really care. From just the way that they've played. As far as their defense, they can't seem to stop anybody. And tonight, I believe you said it first. I know that Sheldon Rankins is actually out. And, I was watching some film, And actually, like, as far as the actual like defensive line, he seemed to be one of the only ones who was out there giving it his fucking all. I mean, playing very well. So actually tonight, with actually him out, I think that's a key piece out. You know, there's one thing in this game that I'm pretty sure that actually happens, and that's the Cowboys to score at least 21 points. You can get that at DraftKings currently at a -135. So actually, like you do have to pay like a little bit of juice there, but I think that number, it is actually worth that.
I like that too.
So actually, like that's my play here, you know. But I'm very close to betting the Cowboys here. They are playing very hard, and actually, like Ben said, they're actually getting key pieces back. I actually believe Diggs is actually also going to be back tonight.
Questionable.
Which I can say, if he does play, that is huge.
Yeah,
I mean, absolutely huge.
I would agree.
You know, this line has actually moved off of 6 now. Is that 5.5? It's even down to 5 in actually some spots now. And actually, when I'm looking at a home dog, moving off of that 6 going to the 5.5 is a very good sign. Actually, like for that dog. These are spots where if you just blindly bet these actually long term, you actually will win. So the Cowboys set up in this spot for something that I normally like to back. I believe the Bengals also have an offensive lineman out tonight. Is it Orlando Brown?
Yes, that's what Orlando Brown is out tonight.
Okay, yeah, he's out tonight. You know, I think that this defense is going to be able to get into that backfield. You know, so yeah, for me, I'm not on the Cowboys yet, but I am very close to being there.
I respect it. I mean, I'm on the Bengals, so I don't respect it a ton, but I understand the logic of why you would be taking on that side. Absolutely. Before I let you off your segment here, JD, question from Nick Castrucci. Nick is asking, does anyone like Burrow under 277.5? I'm negative on this. Definitely not playing any of Burrow's unders in this game. Like JD just put it, Dallas could get a lead. They could get something, and then the Bengals will have to throw their way back, and Burrow just puts up 2 big numbers for me to take that. What do you think, JD?
Yeah, that's really tough. For me personally, actually, like I don't see any real edge there. Then again, the passing props is not something that I really do much of.
Respect that.
That's just not my thing. But actually, before you go back to Ben, as far as a touchdown prop tonight, give me Brandon Cooks at a plus 350.
Wow, that's a banger. I like that. Some value there. JD digging up some touchdown bangers that are definitely possible. He definitely could find the end zone tonight. Ben, give a prop. What do you got? And then
well, I'm glad JD brought up Brandon Cooks at plus 350 because I'm going to go to the other team, and I'm going to say the obvious one that everyone's probably going to be on, but I just don't see how it doesn't hit. Chase Brown, minus 160. But you can parlay those for plus 536. So you can get one person on each team. Chase Brown has 8 touchdowns in the last 9 games. No one in the NFL is allowing more touchdowns to running backs this year than the Dallas Cowboys. They're averaging 1.2 touchdowns given up to running backs on the ground per game this year. Chase Brown is the clear number 1 with Zach Moss injured. They did bring in Khalil Herbert a few games ago in that acquiration, but he's done nothing. Chase Brown is basically playing all the snaps, getting all the carries, especially in the red zone. And he's scoring a touchdown almost any game, or almost every game. And yes, Doc, I do have a long shot.
Oh, what do you mean? You don't want a minus 3,000?
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say my favorite long shot, Kevontae Turpin, plus 700, the speedster himself. You have Brandon Cooks coming back. You have Jake Ferguson healthy. You have all these guys who are coming back in the offense now. No one's even going to be thinking about one of the fastest runners in the NFL, who they can use in so many ways with an open field. Because he was actually getting more looks from the defenses with all the injured guys. You wouldn't expect him to score because he's going to be playing less snaps. But when he's on the field tonight, I think they're going to get some plays for him. He's so fast that you can't not use him. It would be a crime to not use Turpin. So I think they might give him a few looks, try and get him something quick. And that Bengals defense is horrible. You can beat him over the top he's so fast, he might beat him over the top on a go route and score a 70-yard touchdown tonight. So Devontae Turpin plus 700 is my favorite long shot.
I respect it. And I'll kind of go over my long shot touchdown here. I am going to be taking Andre Yoshivas anytime touchdown at plus 480 for the Bengals here. So you guys can picture it now, especially if we have players back for the Cowboys in the secondary like Diggs. They're going to be on Jamar Chase. They're going to be heavily manning up on T. Higgins. The two big guys will be the focal point of this Dallas defense to keep off the scoreboard. That's going to leave Andre Yoshivas open to find the end zone. I'm taking him plus 480. I definitely think we do have a good chance at cashing that. Fellas, we broke down a ton, but we're not done. JD has more bangers for the people. What do you got?
Give me an actual long shot here. Give me the Cowboys defense.
Okay.
Cowboys defense at plus 800.
That's barely better than Devontae Turpin to score.
Dude, that's barely better than Chase Brown, apparently, to Ben down there. I like that defensive one. You definitely have a good chance there. I like the Yoshivas one a lot. I do think Chase Brown does get in, Ben, so I'm just teasing you. I do think that is a good angle because they do give up so many rushing yards. Definitely respect that. And Turpin is a good play as well. He's been electric. He's been lighting up, especially in that Commanders game. We all saw how he changed that Commanders game, so he has the potential to do that yet again. Fellas, any more props from you guys before we get into best bets for the day?
I do have one more prop on this game, and it actually is the best bet, and it's the same guy I just talked about to score a touchdown. Devontae Turpin is being absolutely just looked over, I think, by a lot of people in this game with so many players coming back for Dallas. I know Brandon Cooks played last week, but this week he's expected to have an even larger role. You have Jake Ferguson. Devontae Turpin is only sitting at 14.5 receiving yards, 12.5 in some spots if you can get it. I haven't even at 12.5, but he's up to 14 in a few places. He's hit that in 3 of his last 5 games. You look at this, and he only needs 1 reception. He's cashed this with 1 reception already once this year. And really, he's not getting that many short routes. They use him as a guy that's just a speedster. Yards after the catch against one of the worst defensive secondaries in the NFL. This will be 1 catch for him. I almost guarantee this is only 1 catch for him, and he can get over 12.5 yards. So you're kind of banking on him to get that 1 reception with how quick he is. And against one of the worst secondaries in the NFL, I absolutely think that he can hit this, and he's being overlooked, I think, in this game a little bit, being so low.
There we go. I like it. And I saw one more comment before we get into best bets asking about Gesicki. I'm not a big fan of Gesicki tonight. I think that the Cowboys do a good job on tight ends. That's one of the few things that they do well. I would not be taking Gesicki tonight. That's just my opinion. Anyone else have a different one?
No.
All right. Well, let's roll, fellas, into what we do best. We give people winners. Let's get into our bets for Monday, December 9th. Ben, I know you have a couple for the people today. I know you got a couple winners as well. What do you got?
I have 3. In the NBA, we talked about this in the game, that prop on Josh Hart over 14.5 rebounds and assists. I love that one. I think he gets over 40 minutes tonight against a team that gives up a ton of rebounds, potentially without Karl Anthony Towns. I think he gets a ton tonight. So that's one of my favorite NBA plays tonight, in the only NBA game, I should say. Devontae Turpin, just talked about that one. Over receiving yards, over 12.5, you can still get it. I would play it up to 14.5. If it goes above that, I don't know, because I think he might only see 1 catch tonight. It could be a 13-yard reception. So take that with a grain of salt. But Bengals Cowboys over 49.5. I think we absolutely see over 50 points tonight. Bengals have seen 60-plus points in 4 straight games in their games. They just can't play defense. But Burrow continues to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't see how you could think about the under here.
I respect that. I only got 1. I'll be quick. Bengals minus 5.5. It may go down to 5. It doesn't matter to me. I do think they win this game by close to, if not double digits. Bengals minus 5.5 is definitely my best bet. And Mr. Cowboy, what do you got?
Yeah, we just have that actually won tonight. I mean, the Cowboys giving their team total over. We need them to get to 21 points to a night, and I think that they do that. I would actually play this a little bit smaller, but probably all the way up to like 23.5. Yeah, I definitely like that. And it's not a play yet, but as far as the Cowboys side, I definitely lean there.
More to come here. And JD, if you do decide to make that an official play, where can they get that play?
MoneyBall metrics. Go actually to our Discord link. We're on a nice actually free play run now. I believe we've hit 5 in a row. So yeah, like things are going good there.
Per usual. Things are always well. In the Discord, make sure you guys get in there. It's the best community and the best people in there. Let me put on the best bets graphic. Get your phones out here. Take your screenshots. get the plays. And guys, it's been a great show. It's been a long show for only 2 games. We're able to come on here and give you guys breakdowns on these 2 games in depth, give you guys player props, talk about the NBA, talk about college football, talk about the NFL. We've hit it all. Fellas, it's been a great show. JD, say something to the people before we get out of here.
That hat was too damn hot. I had to change it back. But yeah, tonight, the slate's small, but actually, we actually found some actually good plays here. So let's all win. And actually, I like it. Let's have a great week. Let's
crush it. Start of the new week, new opportunities. Ben, give the people an inspirational quote, your favorite inspirational quote that helps you get through every single day.
My favorite inspirational quote is Ashton Genty should get the Heisman. Alabama did not get snubbed, and Juan Soto and the Mets are going to win the World Series in 2025.
You literally turned my TV on. That bullshit, Soto. We're not talking baseball. Baseball's over, and F the Mets. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Same time, same place. Peace.